Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, honestly, don't really know what we're gonna be talking about. You know, it's just like one of those things where you just kind of have to like just be crazy and just start yapping about random stuff that may not even matter. Like who honestly really cares about me and what I talk about, right? But it could provide insight for some people, but who cares, right? Hmm. Anyways, I wanted to kind of talk about uh, maybe more of my game ideas that I had going. Like one of the game ideas that I had before was like, oh, let's do this sushi house. And like I kind of thought about it more and all the stuff I want to do, and I think that as good as an idea and awesome as an idea that is, I think that would maybe take too long for me being a solo dev, and I think it's a pretty ambitious project, even though it doesn't look like it would be. I think it's pretty ambitious, and I want to kind of just pump out a game right now. So I would be finishing work on another game that I've worked on forever ago and never actually finished. Oh wow, who would have guessed game developer not finishing like 1,000 different projects that I've already had before. So I'm actually gonna finish it, and I think it could do well, just like anything ever. So, but you never know. So, um, but yeah, I mean, what else do I really gotta talk about today? It is a much later upload than I wanted. And that's because I went to the gym. Went to the gym much later than I wanted to because I woke up later than I wanted to. It's like the whole thing of like you always promise yourself and you're like, I'm gonna go to bed by this time. Oh, I'm gonna go to bed by this time, and you never do. Maybe you guys do, but I don't apparently. So I stayed up pretty late. I think it was like 3, 4 a.m. And it's like, I really did try and like actually go to sleep earlier, not early. I went to my bed and I'm like, I've kind of found a good position that helps me fall asleep a lot quicker and didn't really work for like 30 minutes to an hour. So kind of got unlucky. Maybe you guys deal with that too. I'm not trying to be like having sleep insomnia like Mr. Moist Critical or something. And that's like the whole idea is I don't want to start taking like melatonins because like I don't know if I said this before, but it's like I don't want to do that because I've done it many many times before. Like I still even have like the bottles back there in my room of like the gummy melatonins and stuff, and it's like I don't want to keep doing that because I know if I keep doing that, then my body will, get used to it and it might even want more. And I don't want to do that. So that's kind of like normally why I tend to save those for like special occasions when I want to wake up like I want to go to bed like super early to wake up like later or super early in the morning. Like example is when I'm gonna be going downstates and stuff. I'm probably gonna fall asleep at like 4 or 5 p.m., which is really really early. But it'll at least get me enough sleep to wake up at like midnight or something, so that I can leave around that time. Because I've had tons of experiences at this point driving from where I am downstate. So I've kind of like figured like a good timeline, when to leave, and all this stuff. It's just like stuff I gather from experience. But the game that I'll be continuing to make and like actually finish is kind of like a dueling game. Uh, it's not like a buckshot roulette type thing or anything where it's like, oh, you're gambling on this or that, and you have to use your intuition a little bit, right? Nah, it's actually just a game of like it's so simple. It's like literally just a game of who can click the fastest, like react the fastest. And like I know most people are just like, I'm gonna spam the button, spam the button, spam the button. But I think it'll be like a cool little fun project game that I could actually finish and maybe if it gets like 100 people playing a day, I'll be happy. Things happen. I mean, like the game is actually basically finished, almost finished, entirely finished programming wise. The only thing that isn't really finished per se is the like the designs and animations and VFX and The store, like monetization wise, really isn't there yet. You know, it only has the basic stuff. It has the basic like the weapon and this and that. So it's not really like it's. I think it's good, but I'm not a game designer. As much as I am an indie developer, I'm not a designer. At least I don't think I am. I'm not a good VFX person. I'm not a good animation person. Like, even for this even for this like project I was doing, I used the Roblox's like beta feature of the live animation capture. You know, using AI and stuff to make it into an animation, so I don't have to actually. You know, it was pretty meh, but you know, it came out pretty good, in my opinion. But I'm not an animator, so I might actually like outsource it or something. You know, game dev stuff. You know. I don't know what's been happening lately, like the Game Awards and all that other stuff. You know, I try not to keep up too much with that anymore because it's like it's all internet stuff. It's awards, yeah. It could help advertise your game or whatever, but personally, I could care less, man. You know, whatever happens on the internet is whatever happens. You know, if some company doesn't make it on the Game Awards and you thought it should have, oh well. You know, like I could care less. You know, it's a game. It's only a game, bro. You don't have to be mad. You know, so you know, and I think it might have had been relating to dispatch or something like that. I don't know. I could be entirely wrong. Maybe you guys could fact check me or something. I don't know. Just go look for yourself. You know, like if you really care that much, just go look for yourself. You know, I'm not gonna care that much because the game it's already good. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, dispatch made by the Telltale Games, the people who made Telltale, who are part of Telltale Games, made this game called Dispatch. So it's like a story mode game, like the Left 4 Dead, I think. No, not Left 4 Dead. The Walking Dead story mode game and like Minecraft story mode was made by Telltale Games. So they were kind of like the masters in their genre. You know, I don't really think there actually is any actual games, story games like that out there, other than like the ones that Telltale has produced. Because it's like such a niche genre of gaming, but I think it's starting to come around a lot more, especially with Dispatch and how much more of like a wider audience it's gotten. Good for them. They deserved it. Apparently, the game's been in like development, like on and off, for like 6 years maybe. I could be entirely wrong again. I didn't really fact check or anything. I just saw something. I'm like, oh, cool. That's kind of a long development process for any game. But in the end, it came out well. I mean, I think the game personally was like, I never played it. I watched it. Um, I think it was like pretty close to a 9, either an 8.5 or a 9. The reason I wouldn't be giving it like a 10 is because the sound on it was pretty abysmal. It was kind of moderate, like okay levels. Like it was like a level that I feel like I could have done, and I suck at those things, even though I'm an indie game developer. You know. So also today there was no updates on my application on that job, which kind of sucks. So as we all know, probably means I'm either getting ghosted or it means I'm getting rejected, or the very slim chance that they had a lot of thought process and like, well, maybe we want this guy or we want this guy. So you never know. I also had to actually email the DMV because what is it? I've been getting a new like license plate for my car. It's like a vanity plate, so like it's one of those custom ones or whatever. Our state doesn't really have good vanity plates, but there's just a new one that came out that I thought was pretty cool. So I decided I have the money. It's not expensive or horribly expensive, so I'll just go ahead and do it. You know. And the project that I've been doing from the company that I've been contracted to and stuff is interesting to say the least. Obviously, can't share much about it, but you know, you ever just like get that moment, like if you've ever been working for a company and they're like, "Hey, we want you to do this and this," right? And you're more than enough experienced to know and understand that what they're asking for really isn't plausible, and it's not your fault. It's the fault of the company that you're using, right? Like the MetaQuest headsets that we're using. and the support for MetaQuest isn't really all there, like development wise. Like they're starting to get there, but it's not there. You know, especially now that they have a big focus on AI and their AI glasses and stuff. I really don't think their MetaQuest support is really going to be great anymore, which sucks. Also, cool thing, if you guys don't know, I mean, if you're a gamer, you should probably know this, but if you don't know, perchance, Steam is coming out with a new Steam headset. I think it's Steam Frame, and I told myself I would never jump on like these hype trains and buy VR headsets again, because again, they are expensive. They really are, unless you're getting like a cheap MetaQuest or something. That's not a PC VR headset. That's a standalone headset. But Steam announced their Steam Frame, and I'm like, hell yeah! I saw the stuff, and I'm like, oh, this looks like it could actually be good. Obviously, none of us know because we don't have the headsets, and it's not out yet technically. And then they got the what is it called? The Gabe box, people are calling it. Gabe Newell box, or GabeCube. My bad. That's kind of like their, I think like very small. Like it's like it's like a little box. It's meant to look like one of those small computers you maybe have seen being built on YouTube channels. It's kind of meant to be like that. And I definitely think it is. I'm trying to rival consoles. Obviously, it's not meant to be a console. It's meant to be a little computer, and you could use it for computer stuff, and you can use it for Steam. Obviously, it's using their Steam OS. They're definitely making huge leaps and bounds for their Steam OS, and I'm glad that they are, because honestly, as much as I love all these other small OSs, you got big ones like Microsoft, Linux, some others. So, I mean, I think the Steam OS, personally, from what I've seen, I think it can be very, very promising. And I do know that they do use, like, Linux and stuff, but I think what they've done is amazing and good. Okay, I'm a Steam glazer. You caught me, man. I'm a Valve glazer, okay, I mean, if you're a gamer, how can you not glaze Valve? They're just, like, the goats of everything. I never played the original Half-Life or anything. I wasn't even old enough to anyways, but I think I played Half-Life episode whatever, Half-Life 2 episode whatever it was on the orange box, and I was like, damn, that's interesting, I also played, that was also my first introduction to TF2, because TF2 came out on the orange box as well, for console, and I played that, and I was like, this is actually fun and simple. Obviously, little did I know that TF2 was already a huge game on computer, and still is to this day. you know? So, yeah, I mean, I was also talking to my friends earlier on Discord too, and they were like, hey, the developers for Arc Raiders, they need devs and stuff. I'm like, cool. And I looked at it, and they're based in Sweden and stuff, and they're only accepting Sweden applicants, and, they don't have any entry-level roles, and I feel like that's most of the gaming industry nowadays. Not most, it's like 99.9% of the gaming industries nowadays. It's like that one guy said, it's basically just all like 4 to 5 years plus of experience, and you need 50 internships under your belt. You need to at least have an internship from 3 out of the 5 big companies. You need one from Netflix, you need one from Meta, you need one from Amazon. And maybe we'll look at your resume if we're feeling lucky. And I'm like, it's just crazy, man, nowadays. And it's like, I want to do internships, but it's like, I don't want to bite the bullet and like try and get my master's. Like, yeah, but it's just more money. Yeah, it would definitely be helpful in a sense. Like, it would pause my loans, but it would also put more stress on me because now I have to do a master's. And as much as I feel like I would love learning and stuff again for a master's, I just don't think there's value to it right now. I think from what I've seen, personally experiencing, I think the real, like everybody says, I think the only thing that matters right now is that you maybe have a bachelor's or a master's just to prove that you have a degree. And then tons of experience. Experience is the only thing that they're really looking for. Like, I could literally put on my resume, if I ever did work for them, I could be like, hey, I worked for Amazon for a year as a software game developer or something. Whatever, I don't know what they call it. Every company calls it something different. and they'll see Amazon on there. They'll be like, this kid went to Amazon. Let's take a look, interview him in this and that. You know, and I feel like that's crazy to me. I I'm not them, so I can't say that that is entirely true. That's what they do. I mean, most of what they do and who they accept and reject for interviews from the first phase, it's always like this ATS system. It's AI. It reads over your resume, and that's why it has to be in a readable format so that the ATS system could read it and be like, oh, yeah, you somewhat pass our minimum. Oh, pass it to HR, who will then read it for 3 seconds and then say no. So, I mean, it's crazy that it's starting to come to that where I really have to put more hours than I need to tailor my resume. I understand, right? I have to show my experience. I have to show the relevancy. I 1000% agree. But how are you gonna get to know me and what I do and don't do through a single page on a piece of paper with maybe a paragraph or not even close to a paragraph worth of text and a bunch of numbers? Yeah, that can prove that, hey, maybe he took more leadership roles, or maybe he helped improve the system, so he's able to showcase that he has the ability to scale, or be a quality assurance person, or whatever, you know? So, I mean, to me, it's just starting to seem ridiculous at this point. And, I am kind of talking about this from a software developer point of view more and stuff like a game developer, because I am seeing the game developer stuff, right? But most of them are asking for senior level. I don't have 10 plus years of experience making game. I don't have experience shipping a professional title, you know? And even then, even if I want to apply to some of these jobs, I'd be like, bro, are you kidding me? You're gonna be paying me maybe $90 to $120,000 a year, and I'm like, that is a lot of money. But compared to software engineers or just software developers, just because of a different title, they're getting paid minimum over 6 figures for an entry level job. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's obviously because games don't do that well. Most of the time, they don't, right? And I think everyone's starting to understand that indie games are king. They always have been. Everyone's kind of known this, but I don't know if everyone apparently knew this, but to me, I've always known indie games are king, you know? And the proof to my point there is also Portal. Portal was actually originally an indie game, originally made as an indie game from these three college students and stuff, and they were at a fair. And that's how they got accepted into Valve and stuff, is they saw that and they're like, damn, this is an amazing game for amazing potential. We'll help you out and we'll support you. You join us and we'll do you good, basically. And Portal is one of my most favorite games of all time, and it's a lot of other people's. It's a really well made game. It was a very simple game concept, but it was one that nobody actually did at the time for gaming and stuff, So, indie games are king. There's no way around this. Balatro. Indie game is king. What else is there? We got Megabonk, probably made by Danny Dev, but indie games are king. You might be like, oh well, Arc Raiders is not made, but I don't know. But there are a lot of games nowadays that are doing really, really well because they're indie games, and it's not just because they're indie games. It's because they love what they do, and they're not a huge, ginormous company like EA or some of these other AAA, quote unquote, companies who are trying to just take as much money from people as possible while minimizing the fun factor, the game's originality, You kind of say it's like Roblox games sometimes, Roblox games, albeit 99% of them are indie devs most of the time. Most of the time they just copy and paste what other games do because it's what's working in the market right now for them to make money. They care about profits. They don't care about the fun factor and stuff. Like this one game that recently started to blow up a lot on Roblox. Well, starting to blow up. It's like these poison games or whatever. The buckshot roulette type style games, but instead of you trying to guess what one's a live bullet or whatnot, they obviously dumbed it down to a kid version of you, each person like picking what's bad, and the other person has a chance, one out of the 20 of those objects placed on the table, to select and they'll get poisoned or not, you know? And I'm like, it's not an original idea, and I understand. Reinvent the wheel. It works. But you can relate it to these AAA companies who just keep copying and pasting the same game. Call of Duty, man. I hate Call of Duty. I've never been a Call of Duty fan. Never have been. I don't understand those games. You know, like FIFA. You know, I completely understand this, the sports game perspective, because how can you like advance those or sport games, but like video games like Call of Duty and whatever, they're just copy and paste of the same game previously because they're a AAA company and they know they can get away with game slop, you know? And Roblox developers, most of them, I'm not saying all of them, I'm saying most of them, are going to do game slop. They're just going to copy and paste what blew up, and they're just going to do that because they know they'll get a bunch of people. You know, they know they'll get a bunch of kids who are willing to swipe their mom's credit card to buy some stupid virtual item. You know, and it's the same way, the same way that the AAA companies work. And I'm not saying that every single game, indie game out there, especially like on the Steam platform, is any different. Like, you know, the whole simulator thing is blown up too, and a lot of indie devs are trying to do that now on and put their game on Steam because they know there's a market for it, and they know that maybe Queso or some other famous streamer is going to play and advertise their game, and boom, there they go. You know, so yeah, I had a good workout today. It was leg day, so not really gonna feel good tomorrow, but we'll see. You know, like when I woke up this morning, I felt pretty achy in my back, and that's obviously because it was the first day of the workout week. So it was upper body, you know, arms and back and stuff like that. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully not as late as today. We'll see that.